My parents had promised to fund my college education, but withdrew their support when my younger brother, Jared, didn't get into his desired college. This sudden change in their decision led me to share my experience with others. To give some context, I'm 20 and have a younger brother, Jared, who is just 10 months younger than me. Throughout our schooling, we were enrolled at the same time, creating a constant competition between us. I consistently outperformed him in academics and other areas, achieving better grades from the start. My dream was to attend Caltech to study data science, whereas Jared was passionate about biology and often boasted about his future in microbiology, despite his less impressive grades. During my junior year of high school, I was performing exceptionally well and felt confident about my chances of getting into Caltech. I discussed my aspirations with my parents, and they assured me that they would cover the expenses for my college education. My dad, who inherited a successful business from my grandfather, had ample means to support me. My concern was that they might expect me to work for my college funds, like my father had to, but they always reassured me that my college costs would be covered. As my senior year progressed and college applications were underway, I was under the impression that once accepted into Caltech, everything would be taken care of as promised. However, when I received my acceptance letter from Caltech, my parents reversed their decision. They informed me that they would not be funding my education because Jared had not been accepted into his preferred college, Cornell, and they wanted me to attend a less prestigious college with him to spare his feelings. Jared had always aimed high despite his mediocre academic record, and his rejection from Cornell was somewhat expected. Despite this, my parents wanted me to sacrifice my dreams for Jared's comfort. I immediately rejected their suggestion. I felt that I had earned my place at Caltech and was not willing to abandon my dreams for Jared, who had not been supportive or kind to me throughout our lives. My parents told me that if I refused to comply, they would withdraw their promise and not fund my education at all. This caused a huge argument. I had relied on their promise and had not pursued part-time work or student loans, so I was left in a difficult situation. I tried to negotiate with them, but they remained firm in their position. Ultimately, I decided to leave home, packing some belongings, and sought refuge with my uncle, who had always been sympathetic towards me. I explained the situation and asked him to co-sign a loan. To my relief, he agreed to cover my tuition, allowing me to attend Caltech without financial worry. I've been in college for a year now and haven't had any contact with my parents, who have not attempted to reach out either. Last week, they surprised me with a visit to my college, claiming they wanted to make amends. They did not bring Jared and instead talked about how disappointed they were in him. Their real motive, however, was to ask for my help with an investor they were hoping to impress for their catering business. They offered to cover all my college expenses and provide extra money if I helped them by attending a party and speaking positively about them. Though it seemed like a good deal, I had different plans. At the party, I decided to confront my parents in front of the investor. I told him the full story of how my parents had promised to support me, only to back out when Jared didn't get into his dream college, and how they were now trying to use me to secure a business deal. My parents were visibly embarrassed, and the investor stopped responding to them. Afterward, my uncle expressed disappointment with my approach, suggesting that revenge was not the best solution. He believed I should have just declined their offer instead of publicly exposing them. Despite this, we eventually reconciled, and my uncle assured me that he supported my decision even if he didn't agree with my method. Recently, my parents tried to contact me again, showing up at my college with Jared, who had become physically imposing. They demanded that I retract my statements and publicly apologize. I refused, and when my father made a scene, I told them I was an adult and no longer bound by their rules. I also warned them that if they continued to harass me, I would file a restraining order. My uncle supported my decision to pursue a restraining order, which became easier after Jared's attempt to intimidate me was caught on camera. Now I'm focusing on my studies and preparing for my finals, grateful for the support I've received and determined to prove myself despite the challenges.